everybody, my name is Natasha Collins and I am the founder of NC Real Estate, your place if you're a property investor and landlord. I host NC Real Estate's Members Club and also our one-to-one mentorship, which is the place where you can buy and build a property investment portfolio that aligns with your goals, so it's pretty awesome. Today I want to talk to you about why you shouldn't rule out rural locations in your property investment portfolio. Now, of course, most of us flock to the cities to be buying our next properties, and why wouldn't we? Because we perceive that to have all the amenities we need. But actually, we should also be looking at more rural locations to be buying. There are so many benefits to it, and there are so many reasons why tenants would actually want to move to more rural locations. Number one, you can always buy bigger properties in rural locations with awesome gardens, and that is something that us city dwellers crave. So we really need to be making sure that we are looking at that and how we can provide that goodness to our tenants. Number two is that with the space comes more scope for development, so we can adapt our properties as much as we want. I mean, obviously, if we're in conservation zones or we're buying properties that are listed, there are certain requirements or there's certain restrictions that we have to make sure that we adhere to. But actually, because of all the additional space, as you can see, I'm in a rural location at the moment, there is more scope for changing around what we've got. Number three is that there is far more ways in which we can bring in sustainable ways of living into rural properties. Because there's more scope for development, there's more scope for moving things around, and there's more space where we can bring in renewable sources of energy, we can build more sustainable properties, and that's awesome. Tenants look for that because it is so much cheaper to run. In more rural communities as well, there is that sense of community, there's that sense of space and well-being, which again draws people to live around there. Also, you have to think it from your own point of view. Could you have the benefit of having a rural location to live in and also somewhere in the city? Can you switch between them? Again, as a landlord, you've got that choice. You don't always have to live in the property that you're living in now. You can always switch that around. It's the beauty of having a property portfolio as well. Now, I know in rural locations that sometimes rents fall behind that of cities because of the more difficult location that they're in, but better transport routes overcome that, and actually in more rural locations you find better pubs, you find better restaurants, you can find better schools. So you have to weigh up the pros and cons of this. Of course, you have to choose properties based on the merit of the location and why people would want to live there, but do not rule out these rural locations, because quite frankly you can get some beautiful properties at a cheaper price, and there are so many benefits associated with that. So if you have traditionally always looked in cities, I urge you, or I challenge you, to go out there and start looking in more rural locations, be that a beachside location, be that in the middle of the Cotswolds, be that in the Peak District, the Lake District, wherever you choose. Get imaginative. And you know what? If you don't want long-term lets in there, fine. Why don't you use it for serviced accommodation and see how that stacks up? Start getting creative with your property portfolio. After all, it's meant to be fun. This is your business. This is your place where you can get creative, you can shine. Put properties in your property portfolio that you absolutely love. So if you do have that affinity for rural locations, you think, oh my gosh, it's so beautiful, I wish I owned a property here, why not go for it? There are so many benefits. So if you're ready to get excited about buying in the countryside in rural locations, go and do it. I bet you will be so happy when you do. So if this has been a useful video for you, don't forget to click like and subscribe to this YouTube channel to make sure that you catch up with all of my goodness every single week. And if you want to find out more about what NC Real Estate does, head on over to www.ncrealestate.co.uk. Thank you very much for coming and being with me today. I cannot wait to catch up with you again soon.